This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. So the logs, we have two types of logs here. So read-only log and delete log. So read-only log in the sense the user is trying to change your configuration from LRS to GRS. Okay, that is redundancy options. My storage account has been created with the redundancy option with LRS, and some user is trying to change this configuration to GRS. Okay, so if you provide the log for your storage account as read only, he cannot able to do that. So the configurations in the sense LRS to GRS కావచ్చు, లేదంటే యాక్సెస్ స్టైల్స్ ఫ్రమ్ హాట్ టు కూల్ కావచ్చు, ఆర్ కూల్ టు ఆర్కైవ్ కావచ్చు. So any kind of configurations he was trying to change it, he cannot able to do it. So if you provide a log as read only, he cannot able to change this configuration to from LRS to GRS or access styles hot and cool. So that is read only log. Okay, read only log. And what is this delete log? So when the user is wanted to delete your storage account, he cannot able to do that. So in which scenario we will use this logs? That is if the storage account is using for the production. Okay, if the storage account is using by the production, it should not be deleted, right? If this storage account has been deleted, our application will not work, right? So that is the reason we are protecting your the storage account by providing the logs. He cannot able to delete my storage account. He cannot able to change the configuration of the from LRS to GRS or hot to cool. So these configurations or deletion cannot be done by the user. Okay, that is logs. Alerts. The next concept is alerts. What is alerts here? If a user is trying to delete my user account, I need to I want to receive a notification email or notification via SMS. I need an alert if a user is doing something in my storage account. So there are two kinds of alerts is there: generic alert and metric alerts. So if you want to receive an alert, if a user is trying to delete it, we can able to create that particular alert via generic alert. And I want an alert if my storage account is not reachable or not accessible, or something is going on in my storage account. Let's say, for example, in 5 minutes there is 50 transaction is happening in my storage account. So that means something is going wrong, right? So generally in 5 minutes just 10 transactions or 15 transactions, that is expected. But suddenly there is 50 transactions is going on in my storage account. So that means something is going wrong. So I need in such scenario, I want to receive an alert as an email notification or again as a SMS. Okay, that is alerts configuration. These are all one-time configuration. It's not a day-to-day. It's not a day-to-day activity you will do. Okay, that is alerts. So now we'll see other options we have. Let's go to storage account. So far we have seen before that Let us see the concept. Diagnosis course. Where is course here? Okay, first we'll see the file share concept. Okay. So far we have seen container storage, how we can connect the containers via Storage Explorer, how we can connect all these concepts we have seen. Now we will see the file sharing, how we can do the file share. So what is the file share here? We have seen the four services: blob storage service, file share service, and queue storage service, and table storage service. Okay, so file share service, where we can use for unstructured data, we will use blob storage and file share storage. Blob storage we have already seen. In blob storage we have the containers, we have seen how we can connect it and all. Now we will see how we can connect the storage account via file share service. Okay, so file share is nothing but this is also a storage service where we can transmit the data from your local account to storage account. Okay, let's go for create a file storage. Here you have to provide it. What I can provide here, let's say Lakshmi file share. Then create it. So now it has been created. 1 minute. Okay, now I have created this file share. So before that, let's see one thing. Okay, inside the D drive, or let me go to desktop, demo, static website. Here we have a folder. So if you right click here and then go to properties, click here and share. Here sharing here. So what we are doing here, we are sharing your folder to another user within the same network. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm sharing my folder to other user within the same network. So in the same way, what we are doing here, we are accessing your storage account as a disk here. We are mounting, that means accessing your storage account as a drive in your local machine. That is the file share concept. Okay, so here let us see this. Go here, go to file share, then click on connect here. So here you can able to see some what it is. This is a script actually. Okay, so copy the script and go to PowerShell. You have to run this script in PowerShell. Okay, so here previously we have seen this is what is this window will be called console window. In console window we can able to run the commands one in one line. Okay, this is runtime window, white color window. This is runtime window where we can able to multiple lines of your script can be run from here in the runtime window. So this is my script here. So what is the script it is showing? See this, connect test result, test net connection. This is my URL. What is this URL? Where we can see this URL? Can anyone tell me what is this URL? Where we can see this URL? గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలి. ఎక్కడ ఎండ్ పాయింట్స్ గుర్తుందా? లాస్ట్ క్లాస్లో డిస్కస్ చేస్తుంది. Here these are all the URLs for all the services. This is a URL, file service URL. Okay, file service URL, blob service URL, queue service URL, table service URL. These are all the URLs to access these services. Okay, ఇక్కడ ఇది URL. ఈ URL కి ఈ స్టోరేజ్ అకౌంట్ లో ఉన్న సర్వీస్ URL కి ఫైల్ సర్వీస్ URL కి కనెక్ట్ అవుతున్నాం. సో తర్వాత దెన్ ఇక్కడ పాస్వర్డ్ ఉంది. ఏంటి ఎక్కడ ఏ పాస్వర్డ్ ఇది చూసామా? ఎక్కడ చూసాం ఈ పాస్వర్డ్? ఎవరైనా చెప్తారా? వేర్ వీ హ్యావ్ సీన్ దిస్ పాస్వర్డ్? వేర్ వీ హ్యావ్ సీన్ యాక్సెస్ కీస్. గుర్తుందా? చూసాం కదా, ఇదే కదా కీ వాల్యూ. దిస్ ఈస్ ద key value, right? QWD. So here QWID. So what we are doing is we are connecting the storage account by the password as storage key and the user. Where is the username? This is my username and this is the password. So we are connecting through key and password. What is the URL? That is service URL. Okay, so now let's run this one. So you can see here attempting TCP connect. In this way we can connect the storage account as a disk. It will take some time. In the meanwhile we will go for other things and we'll come back. Okay, ఏమైనా క్వశ్చన్స్ ఉన్నాయా ఇందులో? యా, దేర్ ఈస్ సమ్ ఇష్యూ హియర్. ఇష్యూ ఏంటంటే ఇక్కడ దిస్ ఈస్ సర్వీస్ ప్రొవైడర్ రిలేటెడ్ ఇష్యూ. ఓకే, సో ఇది వర్క్ అవ్వాలి అంటే నీకు 445 పోర్ట్ అనేది అనేబుల్ అయి ఉండాలి. అండ్ దిస్ ఈస్ ద ఎండ్ ఆఫ్ ద సర్వీస్ ప్రొవైడర్. సర్వీస్ ప్రొవైడర్ అంటే ఏంటి? ఇక్కడ ఎయిర్టెల్, ఇప్పుడు మనం ఎయిర్టెల్ నెట్వర్క్ వాడుతున్నాం అనుకోండి, అది ఎయిర్టెల్ సర్వీస్ ప్రొవైడర్. ఈ సర్వీస్ ప్రొవైడర్ నుంచి ఈ పోర్ట్ అనేది అనేబుల్ ఉండాలి అనేది ఉంటుంది. సో జనరల్గా ఎయిర్టెల్ సర్వీస్కి ఇది వర్క్ అవ్వదు అండ్ యాక్ట్ ఫైబర్ నెట్ కూడా వర్క్ అవ్వదు, బట్ ఇట్ విల్ వర్క్ ఫర్ హ్యాత్వే. ఓకే, so it cannot able to connect now if you have to change your network. So service provider end లో 445 పోర్ట్ అనేది అనేబుల్ అయి ఉంటే ఇది వర్క్ అవుతుంది. నేను యూస్ చేస్తున్న నెట్వర్క్ కి ఈ 445 పోర్ట్ అనేది అనేబుల్ అయి లేదు. సో ఐ కెనాట్ ఏబుల్ టు కనెక్ట్ నౌ. సో ఒకవేళ వర్క్ అవ్వకపోతే మీరు డిఫరెంట్ నెట్వర్క్స్ చేంజ్ చేసి ట్రై చేయండి. ఓకే, ఇట్ విల్ వర్క్అవుట్. ఇప్పుడు ఇది కనెక్ట్ అయింది అనుకోండి, ఎలా వస్తుందంటే ఇక్కడ నెట్వర్క్ టైప్లో వస్తుంది, ఇక్కడ ఇంకో డిస్క్ టైప్లో వస్తుంది. అండ్ ద యూఆర్ఎల్ విల్ బి లైక్ దిస్. దిస్ ఈస్ ద యూఆర్ఎల్ విచ్ విల్ షో. యూఆర్ఎల్ ఉంది కదా, యూఆర్ఎల్తో కనిపిస్తుంది మీకు కనెక్ట్ అయింది అంటే కనుక. సో ఐ కెనాట్ ఏబుల్ టు షో యూ రైట్ నౌ, బట్ దిస్ ఈస్ ద వే. Once you run this script, it will automatically connect your storage account as a disk. సో ఇట్లా ఈ డిస్క్ లాగా క్రియేట్ చేయడం వల్ల యూజ్ ఏంటి? సో ఇప్పుడు స్టోరేజ్ అకౌంట్ని మీరు స్టోరేజ్ ఎక్స్ప్లోరర్ ద్వారా కనెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నారు కదా. సో ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు కనెక్ట్ యువర్ స్టోరేజ్ అకౌంట్ వయా స్టోరేజ్ ఎక్స్ప్లోరర్, ఎవ్రీ టైమ్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు కనెక్ట్ ఇట్, రైట్? So once if you connect your storage account, close the storage explorer, then probably what you have to do, you have to connect it again. Let's see that. కనెక్షన్ అనేది బై డిఫాల్ట్ ఉండదు. ఇట్ విల్ స్టేబుల్ ఉండదు అనమాట. స్టేబుల్ ఉండదు ఇన్ ద సెన్స్, ఈ కనెక్షన్ ఏదైతే ఉందో వన్స్ ఒకసారి క్లోజ్ చేసిన తర్వాత అది డిస్కనెక్ట్ అయిపోతుంది. ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు కనెక్ట్ ఇట్ అగైన్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు కనెక్ట్ వన్ మోర్ టైం. ఓకే. సో కానీ ఇట్లా స్టోరేజ్ అకౌంట్ని ఒక డిస్క్ లాగా చేయడం వల్ల ఏంటంటే, ఎవ్రీ టైమ్ ఇఫ్ యూ రీస్టార్ట్ యువర్ సిస్టమ్ ఆర్ యూ రీస్టార్ట్ యువర్ కంప్యూటర్, it will connect your storage account automatically. So that is the main advantage here. Okay. So if you close this one, that means it will disconnect your storage account connectivity. కానీ ఇక్కడ ఇలా స్టోరేజ్ ఫైల్ షేర్ అనేది చేయడం వల్ల ఏంటంటే, it will automatically connect your disk as a disk here. Okay. So any questions here? Anyone having any questions here? ఓకే, ల్యాబ్ సెషన్లో ఇది ట్రై చేయండి. నెట్వర్క్ స్విచ్ చేసుకుంటూ ట్రై చేయొచ్చు. ఇట్ విల్ వర్క్అవుట్ ఫర్ యూ. ఓకే. దెన్ ఇప్పుడు డేటా స్టోరేజ్ అకౌంట్లో తీసుకుంటే మనకి ఏవేమి ఉన్నాయి? ఒక స్టోరేజ్ అకౌంట్లో ఏమేమి ఉన్నాయి? స్టాండర్డ్ స్టోరేజ్ అకౌంట్ ఉంది, అలాగే ప్రీమియం స్టోరేజ్ అకౌంట్ ఉంది, రైట్? సో మనకి సర్వీసెస్ ఏమేమి ఉన్నాయి? బ్లాబ్ సర్వీస్ ఉంది, అలాగే ఫైల్ షేర్ ఉంది, అలాగే క్యూస్ ఉన్నాయి, తర్వాత టేబుల్ సర్వీసెస్ ఉన్నాయి. సో ఈ బ్లాబ్ సర్వీస్ ఇవి రెండు కూడా ఎవరు యూస్ చేస్తారు? డెవాప్స్ ఇంజనీర్ యూస్ చేస్తారు. ఓకే, డెవాప్స్ టీమ్ విల్ హ్యాండిల్ దిస్ బ్లాబ్ సర్వీస్ అండ్ ఫైల్ షేర్. సో దట్ మీన్స్ whatever the access required for the blob service, who will provide the access? DevOps team will provide the access. If it is a file share service, who will provide the access or who will provide the information about this file share service? DevOps team will do that. So if you take this other services, queues and table services, development team will use these services. Okay, development team will use these services. సో క్యూస్ అంటే ఏంటి? క్యూస్ అంటే మెసేజెస్. డెవలప్మెంట్ టీమ్ వాళ్ళు యూస్ చేసే, వాళ్ళ అప్లికేషన్లో యూస్ చేసే మెసేజెస్ ఏవైతే ఉంటాయో ఆ మెసేజెస్ని ఈ క్యూస్ స్టోరేజెస్లో స్టోర్ చేసుకుంటారు. అప్లికేషన్లో ఉండే మెసేజెస్, వెదర్ ఇట్ కెన్ బి అన్ అలర్ట్స్, whether it can be something, whatever the messages they want to show in the application. So the queues will be used by development team. And in the same way, tables also will be used by development team. So queues is nothing but messages with ID and description of that particular message. Then tables, what is the tables here? So whatever the information, like some storage for that particular, some storage information, okay, for the development team, if they want to store some information about for the application, what they will do? They will store the information here in the tables. Okay, so in these tables, how they will store? They will store as a key and value pairs. There will be some key and there will be some value. So these two services used by the development team. But as a DevOps engineer, we have to create the queue storage and you have to provide the URLs to development team. And in the same way, you have to create the table service and you have to provide that information to development team. So how they will use in the application, that is their responsibility. We are responsible to create that particular service and provide the information to the development team. But what we have to understand is how the storage is storing the data. Queue storage is storing the data in the form of message ID and the message, and table storage will store the data in the form of key and value pairs. That's what we need to understand here. Okay, so this is the storage account information and table and queues one. So there is one more. Any questions so far here? Understand what is our DevOps role here and the storage account? Any questions here in this concept?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so let's go to another concept, that is cars. You can see here cars, resource sharing. Okay, so here it is a feature in the web application to connectivity between different domains. Okay, so this is the connectivity established in one domain to another domain. Let's take an example. Okay, there is IRCTC application, right? So this is IRCTC application. So in IRCTC application, if you want to book a ticket, what we will do? We'll provide the information about source and destination, and we'll provide the passenger details, and finally we'll book the ticket. How we can book the ticket? You have to pay the amount, right, for that particular ticket. So that is payment. So how we are doing the payment here? In different domain, right? We are doing the payment via HDFC, or we are paying the amount by SBI. These are all the payment gateways, what we can call it as payment gateways. That means here payment is another domain, okay, and IRCTC is another domain, but we are having the connectivity between these two and we are booking the ticket. So that is the concept of cars, connectivity between different domains. Here IRCTC, it is one domain, HDFC is one domain, SBI is one domain, and payment gateway is another domain. So we are connecting these two to book our ticket. Okay, so if you want to provide the connectivity between this kind of different domains, so we have to provide via CORS connection. That will be called as CORS. Okay, that is resource sharing via CORS. So real time you can see so far. This is you have to understand this concept. We cannot able to build right now and see how we can do it, but yes, we can able to do the connectivity between two different domains via CORS. That is resource sharing. Okay, so then yeah, so far we have seen all the concepts. So anyone having any questions so far what we have discussed?
మేడం ఇప్పుడు 2 డొమైన్స్ వరకే కనెక్ట్ అవ్వచ్చా లేకపోతే మోర్ దెన్ 2 కనెక్ట్ అవ్వచ్చు?
కనెక్ట్ అవ్వచ్చు. ఇప్పుడు ఐఆర్సిటిసి అప్లికేషన్ ఉందనుకోండి, హెచ్డిఎఫ్సి ఒక్క డొమైన్ కే కనెక్ట్ అవుతున్నామా? లేదు కదా. ఎస్బీఐ ఉంది, ఇంకా సో మెనీ ఆప్షన్స్ ఉన్నాయి ఇక్కడ. సో మెనీ అంటే ఐ మీన్ ఏదైనా మనకి కనెక్ట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు, మల్టిపుల్ డొమైన్స్ కూడా కనెక్ట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. జస్ట్ a concept here it is to connectivity between from one domain to another domain, how we can connect it. That is the concept here. We can also we can connect multiple domains as well, no issues here. Anyone having any questions? Any other questions? So yeah, so far we have seen all the concepts. Let's have a review once. What are all the concepts we have seen here? Okay, so overview, all the blades we will see. ఓవర్వ్యూలో మనకి ఏదైతే ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ స్టోరేజ్ అకౌంట్ రిలేటెడ్ ఏవైతే ఉందో, ఏ సర్వీసెస్ వీ హ్యావ్ ఫర్ ద స్టోరేజ్ అకౌంట్. సో ఆల్ దిస్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ వీ కెన్ సీ హియర్, ఓకే, via overview. And activity log, whatever the activity we have done in the storage account, all the information will log here. That is activity log. Tags, here tags is nothing but identification. It's like a grouping, we can able to refer via tags, that is identity. Okay, then diagnose and solve problems. And diagnose and solve problems, what we have seen, if you have any issue, first you can check here whether there is an article here, so that you can follow the steps, so you can able to resolve the issue from your end. Okay, so still the issue was not resolved, you can allow to go and create a support request to Microsoft. Okay, then access control. Access control ఏంటంటే identity access management. So if you have a new user in your team, if you want to provide access to your storage account, you have to come here and provide the access for your new user. So here it is, what we have seen here, role based role assignment. It is also called as RBAC. What is it? RBAC, role based access, we can call it here. So these are all the terms which will be used in the real time. You have to remember these terms. RBAC, RBAC, role based access. IAM, identity access management. Okay, IAM, identity access management. In real time we will call it as IAM. Okay, data migration. So how we can migrate your data? We can migrate your data from on-premises to storage account. So on-premises in the sense, we can, your laptop, it is also called as on-premises data, or your machine in your office, that is also called as on-premises data. So if you connect your virtual machine and there is a data and you want to, that is also will be called as on-premises data. And the data, all this data we are moving to Azure storage account. Okay, so we can migrate your data in different ways by using Storage Explorer, or we can use AG copy, that is a command line interface. Okay, so in this ways we can able to connect it, the storage account. So in storage account, yeah, we'll see that later. So this is, next one is events. This is a serverless apps. Okay, so this concept we will see when we will see app service resource creation resource. ఓకే, యాప్ సర్వీస్ చెప్పేటప్పుడు ఈ కాన్సెప్ట్ చూద్దాం, ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు చెప్పినా మీకు క్లియర్గా అర్థం కాదు. సో we'll see this concept at the time of we'll see app service. Then storage explorer, storage browser. So this is a storage browser. It is a like a graphical interface which will provide all the services information and file shares, all the services what we have in your storage account. Okay, this is storage browser. Then data storage. In this data storage, as we have already seen that there are 4 services was there in blob. This is blob storage, where we have the containers to store the data, and file shares, queues, and tables. So unstructured data will be stored in blobs and file shares, unstructured data, and the structured data will be stored in queues and tables. Okay, then security and networking. So here networking in the sense how we can connect this storage account, whether we are using public network, or whether we are providing the access to a particular networks only. So that concepts it will be here. Okay, Azure CDN, this is a content delivery network. This is a feature, what we can say it as, the content will be delivered very fastly if you enable this feature. Again, this is involved in the cost. Okay, this is content delivery network, Azure CDN. Okay, then access keys. So where we can connect the storage account via username and the key value. So here key value is nothing but the password of this particular storage user account. So by using this account username and key, we can able to connect the storage account. Then shared access signature. So shared access signature is we can able to provide a particular access to the user. We can mention here which service you require, but in IAM we cannot able to select a particular service here. So and also we can able to provide a start date and end date of that particular access. After this end time, we cannot able to access the storage account. So if you take IAM, if you provide the access, you have to go and delete the particular access manually once the user is leaving from the organization. Okay, so this is, you have to keep remember this one. What is it? IAM. So inside the organization, you are providing an access to the user. You have to go and provide the access under IAM. If you want to provide the access to outside the organization people, you have to provide two ways. One, you can mention the date and time via shared access signature, and you can able to select only particular service. Okay, so you can provide the access via shared access signature. Or you want to provide the complete access to your storage account for the outside organization people, you can able to provide here username and the key value. Okay, so there is no end time we can provide here. Always he can able to access your storage account till your key is accessible. Okay, so then encryption. So here encryption in the sense, while you are transferring the data from your storage account to another storage account, or it will be, or from on-premises to your storage account, the data will be encrypted. Okay, so whenever you are transmitting the data from your on-premises account to storage account, the data will be encrypted. So because it will be secure while transitioning the data. Okay, that is the encryption and security. So this is security, it will be provided for your storage account. So if you enable it here, you can provide the extra security. Microsoft Defender for storage detects, it will take the security attacks. Okay, so it will secure your storage account from security attacks. So then go for data management, geo replication. So this is LRS account, so you cannot able to see the geo replication. So here I want to highlight one thing. Let's go to another account, Ola Dev1, that is GRS we have provided. So where we are, data management, geo replication. Okay, so here you can see geo replication is in different location, right? East US and West US. So we cannot able to select this region here. Okay, so it is by default, if I select the GRS option in East US location, it will automatically select the second region here. So there was a concept in Azure like pairing of the regions. Okay, pairing of the regions we will call it as. So here from one region to pair the regions, it is required to distance between these regions will be 300 kilometers or 300 miles, something like that. Okay, so this is by default, it was paired this region. If you take US, East US, it is by default, it is pairing with West US. South India, it is pairing with um, North India, something like that. It is by default, all these regions will be paired with each other. Okay, so you cannot able to select the region. I have selected that my primary region as US, say East US, something like that. I want to select my secondary region as India or South Africa, something like that. No, you cannot able to do it. Okay, so it is by default, it has been paired your region. So in worst case, I think Rohini was asked this question in the previous session. So in the worst case scenario, these two regions have been down because of some issue. So the first thing is Microsoft will work on any one of this region so that your storage account will be accessible. Okay. So first they will work on one of the region and try to make up this region. Okay. So that is geo replication. Replicating your storage account in one region to another region. Okay, any questions here? Okay, then go to data protection. What is the data protection here? Data protection at the time of creation of the storage account we have seen, right? So this is enable operational backup of Azure backup point in time. We'll see that later. Okay, so but these are the options we have selected at the time of storage account creation. That is, so within how many days, if the storage account has been deleted, how many days I can able to retrieve that particular storage account. It is in terms of blobs, nothing but a blob is nothing but here a file. So how many days? Within 7 days I can able to revert my blob, and within 7 days I can able to retrieve my container. And in the same way, blobs versioning here, containers and blobs here, and here tracking purpose enable versioning of blobs. So this is here data protection. Then object replication. What is the object replication here? So if you want to replicate your container data from one storage account to another storage account, you can replicate the data here. Okay, then blob inventory, it will not use here, so you can ignore for now. Static website, we have already seen a static website, we can able to create it, but here there is no concept of connectivity between the connectivity to database. There is only static pages, that is HTML pages, which is included HTML, CSS and JavaScript, but there is no concept of connectivity with database. Okay, and lifecycle management. So what is this concept? We will do the automation, so automatically we can change the access tier from hot to cool and cool to archive, so that we can reduce the cost here. Okay, so it will be used for cost optimization for the storage account. That is the use of lifecycle management. Azure search you can ignore. So yeah, it is a storage service, Azure searching service, but it is rarely we can use. You can ignore for now. Then configuration, where we can change the configuration of your storage account. If you want to change your storage account from hot to cool or cool to hot, you can able to change it from here, from the configuration. Or also there are some other options we can see. Secure transfer required, allow public, block public access, storage account key access, allow recommended upper limit. All these configurations you can see here. If you want to enable, you can enable it here from here. If you want to disable, you can able to disable from here. So then data lake generation 2 account. So this is for data analytics storage. So this is used for big data storage. So we are not discussing here for big data. So but for big data analytics, we have to use this concept. Resource sharing, we have discussed today. So connectivity between one domain to another domain, that is cross domain service, which will be also called as CORS. So here advisory recommendations. So the advisory recommendations here is, it will provide the recommendations for you. So in terms of from all the aspects, so it is a security aspect, cost aspect, cost, resource, storage account, virtual machine. So all the aspects, whatever we are using the resources. Okay, so for all the concepts, it will provide the recommendations for this here. So far we cannot able to see here because it is created only 3 days back. So but once at least 1 week it is required to show some recommendations. Okay. Then endpoints. Endpoints is where we can see all the URLs to connect all the services. So here you can able to see blob service URL, file service URL, queue service, table service. So we can able to see the URLs here. Okay, this is really important concept. Okay, you have to remember this. Then logs we have seen. We have two kinds of logs, read log and delete log. And insights. So what is the concept of insights here? Here it will provide the information about your storage account. So what is the availability, how many transactions has been done in your storage account, and success level, what is the success level. All this information we have provided in the graphic way, in the chart representation here. So availability, user used capacity, success latency end-to-end to the server, bandwidth of your storage account which has been used. So all this information we can see here. If you see failure section, any failures here? Zero, right? You can able to see all this information. What is the performance of your storage account? You can see here. Okay, availability and account availability, blob availability, file availability, queue availability, all availability information in terms of graphical way. And the capacity, storage capacity, storage units, what kind of storage, how much storage we have used, blobs, file capacity, queue capacity, table count. So all this information we can able to see here. Then alerts, we have seen alerts. We have generic alerts and metric alerts. Okay. Then metrics, the same way. This is the graphical representation again. We can able to filter here to see the availability graph or input request for this, and for the storage account, output request for the storage account, sum, average, aggregation, all this information can able to see here in the metrics information. So workbooks is the concept of automation. We'll see later while we'll see the automation concepts here. Okay. Then diagnostic settings. So this this is the information about your storage account again. Logs here. It is a preview. Just these are all the options already we have seen, right? Okay. Then metrics, monitoring. It is already seen in the monitoring section. It is a classical way in terms of where we can see in terms of graphical user representation here. Okay. Then export template. This is again related to automation. We'll see at the time of automation concepts we have seen. And support and troubleshooting. Here resource health check, connectivity resource health, where we can see the resources, what is the health of these resources here. So from past 4 days it is available. And connectivity check. So all the services, how we can check. Azure AD you can ignore now because we haven't connected this to Active Directory account. So that is why it is providing as an error. So error means that is something it's not connecting properly. So here green color means it is able to connect without having any issues. So in this way we can able to understand how many services can able to connect properly or how many services it's having some issue with this. Then recover deleted account. So with how many days we can able to recover this deleted account. This is storage account level. Then new support request, where we can raise a support request for this particular if you have any issues with the storage account. So this is about storage account. So anyone having any questions with this, we have completed the storage account concepts. Anyone having any questions here? So okay. ఓకే, మీకు ఏమైనా ఇష్యూస్ ఉన్నాయా స్టోరేజ్ కానీ కనెక్టివిటీలో కానీ ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా? నౌ విల్ గో ఫర్ ద డౌట్స్. ఎనీవన్ హ్యావింగ్ ఎనీ డౌట్స్?
మేడం ప్రాక్టీస్ చేసినాక ఏమన్నా ఒకసారి డౌట్స్ ఉంటే అడుగుతాను మేడం. ఈరోజు ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తాను.
ప్రాక్టీస్ చేసిన తర్వాత డౌట్స్ అడుగుతారు. ఓకే, ఆల్రైట్. ఇంకెవరికైనా ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా స్టోరేజ్ అకౌంట్లో? ఈ రోజుతో మనకి స్టోరేజ్ అకౌంట్ కాన్సెప్ట్ అనేది కంప్లీట్ అయింది. సో మండే నుంచి వర్చువల్ మెషిన్ కాన్సెప్ట్ స్టార్ట్ చేస్తున్నాము. సో ప్లీజ్ ట్రై టు ప్రాక్టీస్ ఇట్ వెల్. సో వీఆర్ మూవింగ్ ఫర్ ద న్యూ కాన్సెప్ట్. ఓకే, స్టోరేజ్ అకౌంట్ ఈ రోజుతో కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయింది. ఓకేనా? సో ఎవరికైనా ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా? ఇంకా ఉంటే చూద్దాం ఇప్పుడు. Okay, hope everyone do not have any issues.